evening. Welcome to Pathway to Success. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Hunter, and I'm sitting with the, the most humorous Professor Mikhail Call, architect and teacher. I just use the word professor because he's really a professor. He was born in the beautiful European nation of Sweden. And I love the Swedes, great soccer player. Their meals are the best, and they are the greatest personalities. And so we were just laughing backstage right here. And so he's a U.S. trained architect with international academic professional experience, and has been teaching and practicing architecture nationwide, as well as international for over 40 years. It's a lot of years. Let me try and I don't have a calculator to calculate how old he would be now. 40 years plus, it says. But Mikhail began his practice in Sweden and served as a junior architect. I like that. With the World Health Organization, with the United Nations, in the Philippines. I need to ask you what the Philippines is like working there. Working on emergency housing. He won his first competition while in his first year at school. And he has since received commissions in Australia, which I like Australia, on both sides of the coast, worked in Italy, Paris, England, of course, Sweden, Kazakhstan. We can't say cut. No. Finland, Texas, and more. He's the owner. He's the owner of Michael Call Architect Inc. He has a master degree, I like that, jointly from the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm, Sweden, with a combined degree in housing and an architectural design from the Veneral Architectural Association School of Architecture in London, England. And now your IQ is extremely high, London, England. He's also Master of Architecture degrees from Cornell University in New York with a minor in landscaping architecture. He got Teacher of the Year, wow, a couple of times. I love that. And Studio Project Issue of the Year for his designs. Mikhail was awarded also a Fulbright Scholarship and was sponsored to attend Cornell University. We could spend the whole evening of your accolades and your qualifications. And so it's he was hired at Cornell University as the youngest faculty in its history. That only lasted, it turned out, for only one semester. Why only one?
They hired somebody younger.
They had someone younger. I like that. Being the youngest, that is, and grew to holding a teaching position at over a dozen institutions nationally and internationally. And most recently taught at the University of Miami, right here in Florida, and Florida Atlantic University in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome to Pathway to Success.
It's a pleasure to be here.
But before I even go to that, you just won the Miami chapter of the AIL Merit Award of Excellence for Architecture.
Yeah, just last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And then you also did, what was the project?
It was an interesting project in Taiwan, Republic of China. It was a combination of a church, convention center, teaching center, administration center. I call it an everything bagel.
Everything.
It has everything. There isn't anything that it doesn't have, right? And it's kind of a vertical campus in the city. So all the usual things are spread out on a compound. It's all kind of stacked on top of each other in a very tight site.
Oh, I like that. Do you have a gym?
Yes, it does, in fact.
Do you have a soccer field?
On the top? Very small one. Very small one.
A very small one.
Yeah. Mini golf, yeah.
A mini golf.
Well, really interesting.
I guess a lot of pastors, if they're watching, are religious people, they want to reach out to you after the show to see if you could put together that in their sanctuaries.
I thought that's what I was here for.
But tell us about yourself. What was it like growing up in Sweden?
Cold.
Very cold.
I'm from Sweden, and they laugh at me because I'm cold in Florida. I mean, it's really, I moved here because it's cold in Sweden. I grew up skiing to school.
Really?
Yeah, it was faster than walking.
Wow.
I could cut over the mountain and see it down on the other side. So I did that for 3-4 years, and then eventually, Nick school, etc. But yeah,
you went skiing to school.
Yes, in the wintertime.
Well, in the wintertime,
Yeah,
did the teacher does the same, or?
Everybody did. It was just easier. I guess they didn't snowplow as much. They didn't put salt on the roads, and if you walked on the road, you went that away, and then you went that away, and you passed the tree and the neighbor. Yeah, so it was just better skiing. Yeah.
But growing up in Sweden, give me a little insight about that. What really propelled you? What really grew? Where did your interest grow in architecture?
Well, I always liked to draw. I was the best kid to babysit. They gave me a piece of paper and a crayon. I was busy for hours. They were probably on the phone or knitting or doing something like that, chatting with their buddies. But I love to draw. So there is actually in my collection of drawings and whatnot. It's actually a drawing from me as a 5-year-old, and it's got a weird house, and it says, "I want to be an architect."
An
The
architect.
spelling wasn't too hot when I was 5, but yeah, I guess I had an, I don't know. I'm sure my parents thought, "Oh, yes, you're going to be an architect or doctor." Yeah. So yeah, I was always kind of interested in it. And go ahead. No. So and then my parents were designing. I mean, they kind of understood design, furniture, and so forth. So I kind of got primed a little bit. And of course, my sisters are way better. They have the artistic flair and talent that way. But my parents actually were one of the few people who hired an architect to design their home. So we had an architect design home that my parents built and I grew up in. And I would hang out in the architect's office. And she was a female architect of award-winning distinction. And she, of course, fed me more paper and more crayons and more pencils. So I might have been early indoctrination. I'm not sure. I didn't have a chance, really. Maybe I should have been a rock star, but instead I became an architect. I mean, it's just I didn't have much chance. But here I am, like a few years later. I love what I do. I'm lucky. Yeah. I really am fortunate. I fell into something that I'm pretty good at. I like what I do, and I enjoy it. Every day is fun. I don't play with the crayons, but sometimes. But it's a really fantastic profession.
Which one of the for in all the homes that you have designed or architectural work, which one was the most challenging? Have you ever had one that really stood out? That you created something that you looked at and said, "Oh my word."
Well, it's kind of unfair because my standard answer to that, what's the favorite project is always the next one.
Okay, the next one.
Right, but this church and convention center in Taiwan was something spectacular. It was very difficult. It was first of all working in China, not speaking Mandarin, working through interpreters. In fact, we were 2 in the beginning, and we developed this very animate pantomime presentation technique, to explain things so that you were with us and understood what was going on, because with lots of drawings and props and whatnot to kind of get the ideas across. And it's complex. It's 225,000 square feet, and the construction technique is encumbered by earthquake. So we don't have earthquake, but same hurricane, but they call it typhoons over there. So same regulations for that, and very demanding client who wanted a lot. It's like 110% was almost good enough. Yeah, I want that too. Yes, and 2 of those, please. Yes. So.
Where do you get those creative ideas, though? The motivation?
I just channel.
The top of the studio. I just channel from a greater power.
Yes, from a greater power. Do you think I can do this? No, it's just the funny thing is, and I mean this quite honestly, is when you are in a creative mode, it doesn't matter if you're a musician or if you're a writer, sometimes when if you write or you give a sermon, all of a sudden you kind of go transcendental. It's just flowing. It just comes to you. Sometimes you write or draw, and all of a sudden that came out good. All right. And sometimes it's just a struggle.
Right.
So you seek to find that point where you're just in your natural element and you just channel the energy that you've been blessed with. So I've been very fortunate. I've taught for over 40 years, and it's a very well-known secret, but when you teach, you learn more than the students. You learn so much. You get questions like, why is the sky blue, or why is there gravity? And so you are forced to stay active and keep your mind agile and dynamic, and it's a really good experience. I love it.
So you have taught for over
too long in a way, because you become used to the academic zoo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like an animal, and I've always had a curious career path, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I've practiced like do design, push permits, and study codes and whatnot, and at the same time teach, which puts you in a very dubious position,
Right.
because you're not really truly an academic.
Right.
You're not like doing the research and serious ponderings on the meaning of life and structure and architecture, which I do anyway. And sort of you're kind of in the field where you're dealing with, a lot of nonsense, and putting bricks together and so on. So I've had this interesting bouncing back and forth between building things and talking about building things and making myself unpopular everywhere I go. I'm kidding. No, I give my students a very hard time. So bless you all. You survived.
They're watching.
They're watching.
All
You
those
survived
watching is right here.
for the better. Yes. I get a few Christmas cards once in a while.
What I would, you have so much things going on in your mind, creativity,
Yeah.
and all these things, and you have taught.
I never sleep.
That's the question. What time do you get to rest, and what do an architect do for downtime, relaxation time? Listen to jazz, bend over. What?
Actually, somebody asked my wife and I, what do we do for fun and entertainment? And kind of went on this long tirade. Oh, we love to travel, Singapore, Hong Kong, Macau, this, that, and the other, and Hong Kong, Bangkok, and what do you do today? Well, we walk the neighborhood holding hands. Sort of like that's what COVID did to us. I love to read. I have a lot of books, and I love my books. And something about the tactile aspect and knowing where the book is right there. It's I like to read a lot, and I tend to keep very busy with my pen, sketching, doodling, and house renovations. Always kind of doodling on something, and gardening. Gardening is the best, because particularly nowadays when you're in Zoom calls all the time, you're sitting there and yes, and then after a while you just have to go do something. So go out and putter in my yard and clip on trees. And
I like your glasses too.
The first one is commenting on that.
I had to comment on it because I said, "Wow, it's very
Everybody should know this. Okay, so I still get away with readers, right? So I've got a slight sight impairment, right? And I still get away with readers, and I buy this from eBay. They used to be $4.99, now they're $12.99. I used to buy them by the dozen. I sit on them, fall asleep on them, leave them in the car, left them back over. I have 4 in the car, 1 in the bathroom, 1 in the office. It's sort of like fine, and they work. I stick to what works.
You are the most funniest architect that I've ever interviewed, and professor. I'm sure people right now is saying we want to join his class. Where's his next? Where's his next? Where?
I am going to give a lecture. I'm giving
your next lecture.
I'm giving a keynote lecture at the Miami Beach Convention Center, either the 4th or 5th or 5th or 6th of January. Yeah, talk about the building that I might show some things about. But you know what I like to teach? I like to teach architecture to non-architects.
Oh,
I like to warp minds.
Yeah.
Change the way you see and understand the world. You have no idea what an architect does, do you?
No,
we play with crayons. I told you already.
Architects play with crayons, and they create unique things, things that is out of just mind blowing.
It's like here, I got an idea. Yeah.
And when that idea comes, you just start drawing.
Oh, you can't sleep. You got to put it down.
You're like a scientist, literally, right?
You think that I'll remember it in the morning. No way. You've got to either put it down or get up out of bed and put it down on paper, because when you wake up, wait a minute, I dreamt it. Wait a minute, what was it again? So you don't sleep.
You don't sleep.
You more or less pass out. That's the equivalent. Right? No, but it's an interesting profession, and it's a profession where you can do a lot of things. I mean, I have colleagues, all they do is sit on the phone. Right? I have colleagues, all they do is run on the job site.
Must be a competitive one also, because if you're not creative enough, you can end up creating something that has already been created by almost a million other architects.
Yeah.
What makes you more unique and outstanding than the others that you have seen so far? your work, and,
Well, actually,
we're going to look at some of your work.
I have to brag a little bit because this award was in high competition. Really, some of the world's best architects, and I'm really happy to say that the jurors somehow found it in themselves to premiate this particular design. It's complex, and if you look at it, it looks like a giant sugar cube of marble with a weird hairdo.
Really?
That's when you look at it, you go like, what's the big clump and a weird hairdo thing hanging on top of it. But when you peel the onion, or it's actually referred to it in the category of Russian doll project. So you keep on finding another doll inside and another doll, and hey, and so the more you dig in this project, the more you find. And so I think the jurors actually they got it. They went in there.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Wow. Excellent. Excellent. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back with the humorous, the creative, Mikhail Call. I think it's Mikhail, right? I pronounce right?
Yeah.
Mikhail Call, all the way from Sweden, but he's now American Jamaican, right here on Pathway to Success. A man of many nations. Okay, we're going to run to the rest of love you.
Are you looking to advertise your business? Look no further. Pathways to Success is offering 3 30-second slots each Sunday of the month for $100. Please contact 561-331-1524 for all inquiries.
In the Mediterranean.
Yes.
Are you looking to advertise your business? Look no further. Pathways to Success is offering 3 30-second slots each Sunday of the month for $100. Please contact 561-331-1524 for all inquiries.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Pathway to Success. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Hunter, with Mikhail Call, architect, teacher, and comedian, right here on Pathway to Success. We're having a very comical but entertaining and learning time. And so I want to see some of the pictures of your work.
I have some with me. I have tons of pictures, but let's look at something here. Let's see if we find.
Wow.
This is actually the terrace of the church on the very top, and it has. It's a fundraiser terrace. It's a spill out from the office working area, so they have lunch areas and so on. And clearly, it was part of the understanding was that it would serve as a fundraising cocktail kind of place, and it overlooks the skyline of the regional mountains that are right north of Taipei.
This
There's
the church.
There's the church. I mean, look at the church. It looks like an office building. That whole glazing is actually the lobby behind it to the major auditorium. It's a huge auditorium, almost 2,000, if not more, seats in it, and it's being finished right now, veneered with wood and whatnot. And that whole glazed area is at nighttime particularly illuminated, but that's the lobby.
Yeah.
So you see people walking up and down, or actually ride escalators. We have escalators. You know, we fill the auditorium with escalators going this way. And then when it's over, it goes that way. 2,000 people in, and then 2,000 coming in again. So it's a huge church.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a beautiful
That's
structure.
yeah, it's all marble.
All marble.
Yeah, we bought half an island in Greece, and ended up having to cancel that idea and instead went with a synthetic Spanish product that looked like marble. But the client was very insistent. A white, pristine, shining edifice of God. It had to be clean white and very opposite to kind of Taipei's polluted.
When you first presented them, because you're the one who created this, right?
Yeah, blame me.
Did they ask you? Did they ask you if you miss it? Did they ask you if you miss it? Because when I saw the building at first, I said, "Wow, a church! It's unique. It's different.
It's an everything bagel. I mean, it does everything.
So modernized."
Well, it's a vertical
Almost,
campus.
yeah.
It has schools. It has parking, scooter parking. It has elevators, tons of them, of course. And clerical spaces, hotels, whatnot.
Within the church?
Yes, on the back of it, yeah. So there's actually the trick in it of sorts was that the client wanted to maximize everything. Right? It's an expensive size downtown, and they see in the section in the next picture you'll see that the building is actually, you see the auditorium. It's got 2 levels of balconies, lots of parking underneath, and then you see this cone. Well, the building was so big and they want to maximize it that, the regulations said you have to take out some square footage. Because the volume's okay. The volume's all right. It's within the limitation, but the square footage is too much. So we had to make a courtyard. But instead of making a courtyard, I came up with this crazy thought that we should make an inverted ice cream cone. That's a skylight. And that becomes the sacred chamber. That's the chapel. That's the chapel. It's a wedding worship chapel. 4 stories tall with a cone coming up through it, taking the skylight and just bringing divine light into the center of the space.
Amazing.
I got away with it. And
you did.
You should have seen me trying to explain this. I had flashlights. And they're like, well, it's going to cost money.
Oh, yes.
But to me, it makes a difference between basically that area was just an office block in that area, hotel office block, seminar rooms, educational spaces, whatnot. And of course, the kind of cloud formation, which started off as a diamond. They asked, we want a diamond on the building.
They're really
diamond? What? Yeah, really diamond? Like a diamond? It's a diamond form, a diamond shaped or jewel idea, and it kind of evolved over 3-4 years to become this abstract cloud. And of course, they don't know why I came up with it, and I make up stories about it all the time so that they can keep guessing what I intended to do. But it is for the childlike mind. You look at that thing, you say, well, that's like heaven. It's like a cloud suspended over that building. Yes. And I try to make things divine in a way from simple material. There's on the left-hand side, just next to the cloud there's this whole wall that glides away from the building, and it gets dynamic, and it's like a prayer wall where prayers ascend to the heaven. Right. But it takes solid material, marble stuff, and just becomes ballet and dancing, and God's power is just impacting this, and it becomes fluid, plastic. And I want to move people so they look at this and go, I don't understand what it is, but it talks to me, right? It says something. And so, from an office building or regular church, this is something that is spiritual and even cross-cultural.
Yes.
I mean, I don't speak their languages. I mean, there's a lot of gestures and whatnot, and people go, And then, they call it names, they call it, whatever they think it is. And I'm okay with that, as long as it serves the purpose of moving the people. That whole glazed area, that it illuminates the entire streetscape, and it's like the only building around that says, hi to the street, hi to the people, come in here. So.
Wow. You're a genius. You're the best.
No, good architecture is storytelling. You have to tell a story with your intent. And in this case, honoring and worshiping God.
And I love that story. It's a story that you don't see every day. It's not throughout life you keep seeing the same church buildings wherever you go. True. But this one is unique. And the idea about the cone, what inspired you to put that?
I knew it couldn't be. It couldn't be
ice cream or what?
It couldn't. No.
Were you having ice cream at the time?
I knew it couldn't be a square courtyard. That was boring. I know I couldn't step the building back because that was like they gave up on the presence on the street. And a round courtyard would have been pretty cool. And so we looked at a round courtyard for a while. And then I realized, ooh, if I kind of make it wider on the bottom, I get more real estate on the bottom. And if I choke it on the top, I can control the light coming in. And if you see the images, I don't know if you have images from the inside of that particular coat, but the light is I got away with it. The light is spectacular. It just shines and shimmers, and it's just, man, it's pretty amazing. Okay. Maybe
you're able to get away with anything. You're so creative. You're a genius. That's natural for you.
What it is ultimately, though, like what we do is communication.
Yeah.
You got to reach the people. You got to cross barriers of languages, of understandings, of ethnicity, origins, and whatnot to say, listen, this is a building that is there for the populace, for the little kids to the elderly, and people have to look at this building and go like, that's talking, that's saying something to me. It has a meaning to me, and that's really, all architecture is real estate, occupiable space, but not all real estate is architecture. All right?
Imagine what a kid would say. I go to a church and it reminds me of an ice cream cone.
And
whenever I think about, I've got my own cloud.
I want to be an architect.
I want to be an architect. And then the kids would be so excited to go and tell their friends about their church.
I think the idea really is to draw people in, to attract people, and it becomes a memorable instance in the cityscape. Right next to it is a fantastic mall building that has actually has a Ferris wheel on top of it. I mean, it's so hard to compete with, right? Well, I have it. There you go.
You have blown that up out of the way with this beautiful architecture. We're gonna look at some of those pictures on the inside. My word!
I think this is a little video. So I mean, obviously, I'm not over there anymore, and there's other people looking after the job. I just spoke to the foreman right now, a good friend of mine who's taking a lot of these good pictures. But
beautiful.
That
Beautiful.
To me was doing what I intended it to do. Changing it from just a kind of office building to something like, that's
so heavenly looking, though, Mikhail. That's so heavenly looking. I like it.
That was the intention. To me, it's sort of
you nailed it.
You flip the building from real estate to architecture.
I love that. I love that. This is so amazing. Is there any more pictures? I guess our producers is getting some more pictures.
I mean, I have lots of pictures, but I don't want to sort of.
How many sleepless nights do you have? Just creating all.
I mean, it's kind of a bad joke that we have all-nighters, and I still do all-nighters. It's sort of, you got to get something done, or you're inspired, and sleep is overrated.
Right, sleep. Yeah. Well, yes, sleep is overrated. I've always said to the people, most successful people I know only do 3 hours or 4 hours.
That's about right.
That's about right.
You know how it goes? 10,000 hour rule. You know that one?
No.
It takes 10,000 hours to get good at anything, be it fencing or jousting or studying for architecture. And that's kind of the scenario. It takes 10,000 hours before you even have to there. And the good part is, in architecture, I would say in a lot of other professions, the older you get, the better you get.
That's true. That's true.
And you know what? The older I get, the better I was.
And being that you have created all of these great architectural wonders, do you have any students that you have taught that is not even halfway to your level or even
surpassed me? I mean, some of them are full-time professors and famous architects. Yeah, I'm proud to say I've got some. I mean, I've taught all over the world, and you can go into school and just be 10%.
What are some of the nations you have taught?
Philippines, Thailand, just recently in Taiwan, but Texas. That's another country I taught there too.
Texas.
But you'll find anywhere you go. I mean, I went to Indonesia, and they're drawing in the sand. And when they get serious, they have like a tablet.
Yeah.
But they're sketching in the sand, and you'll find that there'll be 10%. They're just brilliant. They're brilliant.
You're saying that these are architects are just.
They're architecture students, and they don't have computers, this, that, and the other, but they're brilliant. They have pathos. They have energy of spirit of place of things they want to do. It's fantastic. I mean, working in the Philippines was tough. It was sort of a hit by a tidal wave, nothing left, and kind of building things. So it was, it's like a bunch of young architects from all over the world, and we're trying to help the community make a new place again. And it was hard, very slow progress and so on. But the inspiration, the intelligence, the design capacity exists all over the world. Doesn't matter where you are.
How do you get fresh inspiration on a day-to-day basis to create new things different from the one that you've created before?
Well, I guess all of us, we relate to things we know. We start from things we know. We watch the Jetsons. Oh yeah, that's amazing, right?
Yeah,
And so like
amazing.
they sort of go from there, but they were always working from their vision of what we know today: cars that float, electric cars. We got the watch that you talk to and so on, and the screen that has wireless connection with all over the world. It's amazing, right? And so we always base what we do on what we know today.
Yeah.
So the idea of bouncing out of that, or bringing yourself out of that, or creating beyond that. And today is a fantastic time to be in architecture because of the computing power.
Yeah.
You can do stuff now that you couldn't do with hand drawing and strings and so on, and the Egyptians and so on. Now you can just that'll work. It's just fantastic, the stuff that you can do. I mean, it's a little difficult when what you design can't be built with anything from Home Depot anymore, right? Because it's it's plastic or sprayed or computer generated, right?
What is it that you have not built as yet that you really, as an inspiration, that you said I would want to build that one day before?
My home in Jamaica, yes. On the water, please, on the water, yes.
On the water, a home on the water in Jamaica.
Oh, I love Jamaica, but what do I really want to build? I mean, designing. I've built and designed a few churches. I have.
You ever built a bunker?
Have I built a bunker?
Nothing's architectural about that. What is it?
It is security, safety.
Safety, but something different, creative. I've never seen before.
The interesting thing, I worked on cruise line interiors, nightclubs and stuff like that. They're kind of interesting. Clubs, and entertainment, and hospitality.
Right.
They can be pretty out there, pretty wild. Residences for people with money because it's a expensive activity, right?
Yeah.
And some people have very peculiar ideas of what they want or how they want it and so on. So, yeah, I don't know. Try me. I'll tell you if I like it. No, I don't know if I have a bucket list.
You don't have a bucket list.
I'm not sure.
Have you ever get nervous whenever you're faced with any big projects? But you're a genius. Normally, genius
it's funny you should ask that because I'm not sure. It just becomes a greater challenge.
I've ever get a bit anxious. Oh my God, will I be able to please this client?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, if you ask him if you're pleased, no, not quite. There's only one more thing, right? So, clients are hard to please, but do I get nervous? Not really. I think I'm up for challenges. I mean, people ask me, what do you do? So weird and wacky. If it's normal and typically somebody else does it faster, better, and cheaper. But if it's weird, difficult, and nearly impossible to do, then for some reason it lands in my lap.
Right in your lap.
Yeah.
Because you're the best.
No, I'm just foolish, I think.
But you're from Sweden and a great family that has been in the architectural business for years, right? Your mother.
My mother was in the arts, designs, and what. My dad was a nuclear physicist. He was just a brainiac, So never ask him about
hold on. It's a whole different show.
You can't ask him about the homework. He'll give you a dissertation and go like, "Yeah, Dad, what is?" So
he was a nuclear
physicist. Yep, bona fide.
Wow,
up there.
Family of geniuses. Yeah. That's amazing. That is so amazing. And so, somebody asked me before I come on the show if I think architects make a lot of money. Maybe I can answer that.
They're underpaid, obviously underpaid, yes. Terribly so.
Not architects like you.
For what we do. I mean, it's a demanding profession. I don't think it's something that you shouldn't do unless you absolutely love it. And then the rewards come in different format. Right now, it's a good time to be an architect because we're very, very busy in the industry. It's very hard to find employees or good people, and people with more and more pay. The interesting thing to me is the value what architecture gives.
Right.
A real estate agent could sell a really nice building every 3 years and reap a commission. But the 3 years it took the architect to design it, it's a one-time deal. Follow me? And the silly thing is that real estate agent is actually selling the value that you designed.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the difference, that you're actually building value into design. And everything is architecture. It's the mother of all arts.
Have you ever been on television? Have you ever done any television your work being showcased on television?
I was on one of the earliest HD TV. If you Google me, you'll find me. I think it's like 103 or something like.
Oh.
And I'll tell you what, it's like, you know how they do that? They show up in a pickup truck, they unload the camera like this, and
Really?
somebody says, "Okay, tell me what you do," and so you start pointing like this. 10 minutes later, "Okay, that's good. That's a wrap." You know what?
That was it?
Take two? No, that's it. And they come back 3 minutes later. Now you're ready. So you go, "Okay, we're doing this, and this. Go, fighting it off again." Third time they come around, he's like, "Okay, give me a chance." And so what happens? They cut all that together in a 20-minute episode. So in my case, what happens was they only use the parts where I wave my hand.
Only that part?
I don't know. It looks like I'm semaphoring the entire way through, like I'm speaking. And the building happened to have a curved roof. Right? I look at this, I look like an idiot. Good building, but because of course the editors, they like the animation and so forth. Talk like an Italian,
Like an Italian. You're in the Miami area, and Miami has some beautiful architectural creative wonders that I've seen. And have you ever created any work on any of those? I'm sure you have.
Well, we have some of the high rises in line, not secured, too actually, and I'm working again on one of these South Beach hotels, which is cumbersome. South Beach is,
What happened? Recently we had maybe I don't want to put you out there. Recently one of the hotels had architectural crumble.
I have 14 theories why that building collapsed.
14?
Only 14.
Sure, someone else.
No, it's.
Sure, the most important ones. Is it the foundation?
Probably.
Uh-huh.
It's the
reinforcement.
Inspection, a little too thin, skimping out. I don't know. It's hard to say. It could be earth movement, erosion. It's a lot of things. Somebody could hit a column and forgot about it, or it could be good maintenance in a bad way. It could be painting over any cracks. You don't see them. Well, now you don't see them. Or it could be bad maintenance in the sense that that's okay.
But how would you keep on top of that?
I don't know.
Don't ask those questions.
No,
talk
to my lawyer.
Right here in studio. I like that. But
I'm getting the signal.
How long did it take for you to gain your success today?
Well, first of all, I don't know how you would gauge success. I mean, I'm proud. I'm happy about winning an award, and it's like a 1-for-1. Last time I played golf, I did a hole-in-one.
That's good.
Yeah. I only played golf twice, and the second time I played a hole-in-one. So that's it. I'm quitting, right? So I actually, for the first time, I submitted a couple of projects for the awards and actually won one. So I'm very, very pleased. Do I reckon that's a success? Well, like when I was on HDTV, fabulous. One of the first, right? Not one phone call, not one commission from that. As far as I can tell, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I got drunken friends calling me at 4 a.m. Hey, I saw you on television. Go to bed.
Were they from Jamaica or they were from Sweden or from the Philippines? So you didn't get one call, even though.
Not that I can say, except for friends who said, I saw you on TV at 4 a.m. After the commercial, like buy 1-800. Really? And then I showed up, waving my hands.
Wow. But this award that you have won has really been the Miami chapter of the A&A Merit Award of Excellence. This is great.
Thank you.
This is a major award. Great award.
Thank you. I guess one of the things that pleases me is that the independent jurors, somebody who's not familiar with the city or what's going on, they look at them and they actually award you merit based on what they find. So that pleases me. It's not the usual boys. I beat up some big boys. Companies with billion-dollar buildings and marketing. It's just me.
And you beat on all of those.
Well, some.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Well, probably more international. It's hard to be, Jesus in your hometown or
local.
It's hard to break through. Yeah. Not that this is necessarily my hometown.
But this award really has really.
I hope so.
Brought a major recognition to your work.
I hope so.
And what you do even locally.
Yeah. I enjoy what I do. I really like it. It's the idea of crafting something better, something that's meaningful, something that moves the human spirit when you engage with it, that improves your living. Things are just where they need to be. And
Professor, what would you say to aspiring architects? Because I'm sure you have been through many obstacles, many trials, but how do you overcome whenever you're faced with these challenges? You don't quit. You continue the person. What would you say to aspiring architects that's watching today, or even someone that is not even an architect, aspiring to be an architect, but they have heard your story of success? How would you motivate such persons this evening?
Perseverance. I think I've taught so many years, and I've realized that sometimes students aren't ready for the information that's being presented. You know, we all mature at different levels. Some people get bored, go say, I got this, I know what you're doing, right? Let's move on. And some are just, you know, they just go right over their heads. I've had former students, I love this experience where I've taught them, I cajoled them, I nurtured them, and then they grow up a little bit and they end up being my teaching assistant.
That's good.
And they're sitting listening in on the same class I taught before, and they say, oh, I finally got it. What do you mean? I finally got it. I get what you were saying. Now I get it. And so that's a little bit of the reality, that the maturing process, you know, 10,000 hours of actually starting to get your arms around it. So when you get old,
10,000 hours.
like me,
Wow.
kind of, yeah, I got a handle on it.
So like the amount of hours it would take to work on to become an astronaut. Is that?
Yeah. Sure. I would encourage. I like University of Venice in Italy has 14,000 students. That's like everybody in the Venice area, in the Veneto Valley. Like, how can they have so many students? But the interesting thing is that they take everybody. You want to study architecture? Come on, hey, right? And I think what it does, it allows. And they only graduate like 14. Don't quote me on the numbers, but it's ridiculous. You only let a few out. You're okay. Yeah, you're okay. Right? But the rest of them, they get an architectural education. So
right.
You have society that are just permeated with people with architectural sensibilities.
It's good. I
like that.
I
like that. You know, because everybody in some way is an architect or a designer at least. You know, we design our clothes, we design our homes, we pick this car versus that car. You know, we're always kind of designing of sorts. And not everybody carries an architectural license. But it's one, you know, it's an older profession, shall we say.
Have you ever thought about opening an architectural school?
Yes, I want to have my own school. Yes.
Where? Here, Europe, Caribbean, or Asia? Which one of the places?
A colleague of mine, we were entertaining this idea of starting a polishing school.
A polishing school.
Yeah, you know, teach you what you didn't learn.
Okay, that's different.
I mean, because the architectural system, the architectural teaching system, it's rather antiquated. You know, it's not really cutting edge, you know, because you got to have a new computer, a new robot, and, you know, 3D printer. You know, it's just, so the principles are still kind of staid and stable, and you have to know them. And what you don't know, for instance, and I would say this fairly in a general statement, students don't know how to make money from their trade. You know, they don't know how do you approach a client? How do you write a brief? How do you actually earn a living?
That's good.
And a lot of them give it away for free, which is wrong. Don't give your work away for free. It's bad.
Make sure you're paid, huh? But rewarded for what you do.
That's right. Because we want to practice. You know, it's called practice of architecture.
Right.
Practice. So you want to practice a lot. I think successful architects in general have done a lot.
Yeah.
You know Frank Lloyd Wright? Ever heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how many buildings did he build?
Oh my God, you're going to call me
550 buildings.
550
550 buildings. You think after 300? Yeah, I think I know what I'm doing. You know, I do this, and this, and it works like that, right? So after that kind of a bulk, you start to get like, yeah, you know, I think I got a handle of this, right?
Yeah.
You do your first one, you throw everything at it, right? You're trying everything. So I think I'm blessed in that sense that I'm matured, aged, however you want to say, like good wine or something, that you've seen a lot. You know, I have 14,000 students and God knows 30, 50,000 projects, you know. So after what, no, that won't fly. I've seen it before. Unless you put wings on it, it will not fly.
What is it you have never built? What is it
I've
that
built
you've
some
never built?
weird things. I built a shooting gallery for a police academy.
You built a shooting gallery?
Yeah, it was part of what the commission had to do. I built hospitals. That's not fun. Hospitals, I mean, it's fun, but it's not fun. It's very complicated and technical.
Is it?
60% of budget is in engineering and air, gas, electro. I mean, it's sort of, they take the architectural way, and to me, it's a little bit sorrowing to me because the hospital when you're a sick person. It's for the people. You need to nurture people.
Yes.
For schools.
Yes.
Schools. I mean, you see some of the schools in Europe. Oh, you cater to the students. You educate them in space.
Yes.
An experience. It's not a barrack on wheels. It's temporary. You know, that's not space. So, yeah. What would I? I don't know.
Now, the Swedes love soccer, right? The Swedes love soccer.
Soccer, ice hockey.
Is it your ice hockey, right? Is
Ice hockey
that a
and
favorite sport there?
Those
Soccer
are
and
the
ice.
two. Handball
Those are
a little
two.
bit. No cricket.
Have you ever thought about working on a stadium project for?
Done that. Been there.
You've worked on. You've done that?
Yeah. Never got built, but yes, I worked on it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest stadiums you've worked on?
There was only one that I worked on, but it was in LA, and it didn't go far. But yeah. I mean, that's crowd control.
Yeah.
One of the very interesting projects I worked on. This is interesting. Was for the Pope's visit in San Antonio.
No, that's
It was super interesting. The Archdiocese was very, very savvy. They knew what they wanted, security issues and vistas and views, and really building up a ceremony in a basically large lawn with a bunch of people. So building up any kind of notion of ritual and ceremony, super interesting. We didn't eventually get the job anyway, but it was. I found that really interesting. How do you build ceremony in something which is basically leaving a stadium or coming to a stadium? And it's just a mass, right? Really a mass, right? No, that was interesting. I found that very intriguing.
Wow, you've heard it from the best. What can I say? The creative, comical.
I don't take myself too seriously. Life's too short.
Very informative genius, Mr. Mikhails Childhood, architect, teacher, born in the beautiful nation of Sweden. I mean, oh my God, you have 3 citizenship.
I'm applying for my Jamaican passport.
That's what I'm saying. You have 3 because he's Swedish, he's American, and he's now Jamaican. So
I'm Swemaken.
Swemaken.
Yeah.
Swemaken.
I'm very fond of the island. It's one of my favorite places. Yeah.
Congratulations again.
Thank you, sir.
Great having you on
Pleasure.
Pathway to Success.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much. In closing, you can aspire to be what you want to be in life. All you need to do is believe in yourself, work hard, keep at it, and you'll win. Have a great week.